right, you guys, welcome in. Welcome in. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are seeing this reading. We are at November 8th. This is the full blood moon lunar eclipse in Taurus. That's a big deal. Those of you who have a lot of fixed sign energy in your reading, meaning Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, will likely feel this more strongly. And what I mean by that, if you have a lot of that energy, meaning you have sun, moon, rising, Venus, North Node, something like that in those signs, Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius, you can also take a look at the houses that those naturally represent. Okay, so second house, fifth house, eighth house, and 11th house. If you have a lot of planets in those houses, this can be a very impactful full moon. And eclipse energy is about activation. Full moon is about releasing. So if we're in Taurus, we're talking, the North Node is in Taurus also, we're talking about some reevaluating your values, reevaluating, looking at what I'm valuing. Am I really valuing it, or am I valuing it because someone told me it was valuable? That's something to look at today. Okay. Choosing your path, what I just said, right? Are you doing it because this is what I'm supposed to do? Or are you doing it because it's what I value myself? And in order to understand your own values, you really have to kind of peel back those layers and question all of your values, because most of them come from other people. Until you create a life and have your own life and you were like, okay, wait, that doesn't make sense for me. I'm choosing this value. Some people are raised in families that value education a lot. Some people are raised in families that value busyness, right? What was it that your family really valued? And take a look at, are you in alignment with that? Or is it just being dragged along because you think that that's the way of the world? It's not. You get to choose, okay? Uncovering treasure. There's something inside. Beneath the surface lies a great bounty, and reaching your destination, your light is shining brightly. So when you choose this path, I feel like what's happening is when you're more aware of what your own values are, more cognizant of why you're choosing those values, then I feel like there is this uncovering treasure element, which is there's a lot of good stuff when you finally figure out who you are. A lot of good stuff. And we might think quite strongly, actually, that, we are part of our family, part of that tribe. So those values, of course, make sense to you. But look at your life experience and look at what life has taught you and line it up. Line it up for yourself. Be like, yeah, you know what? That's not really where I want to go. Because this is not about hearkening back to the past. It's really about letting go of the past. Right now, we're really having to let go of things that we think are the truth when they are really just someone's opinion that we made into truth. Okay, so it's time to really look at all of that. 10 of Pentacles, definitely family showing up here. The 6 of Cups and the 6 of Swords. Some of you might be leaving that behind. 9 of Swords, one more, is the Leo energy of strength. And so some of you who do stand up for yourself based on... I'm just going to use this example because I think this is an obvious one, that some of you have come out as gay, as queer, as whatever. Some of you have come out later in your life to your family and everything like that. And are you being embraced, or are you being pushed away by them? Or have you been lying to yourself your whole life? Like what is it? And I feel like right now because it's a full moon, and it's about what we value with the Taurus energy. Scorpio is the opposite sign of that. And Scorpio is like saying, hey, if that's not what you value, it's time to make a change. You kind of, all the signs have an opposite that help you balance and help you bring new ideas or new ways of looking at things, helps you bring a new energy, okay? So if with so much Taurus energy, balancing energy is Scorpio. It's the one across the hall. And so Scorpio is about releasing and letting go and allowing things to transform in our lives. It's about moving. It's about other people's money. It's about what goes on behind closed doors. And if those things, like behind closed doors, are you from one of those families that just it looks good on paper, but the real living of it isn't happy or good, right? Everybody thinks it's great, but might not be. Nine of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, Nine of Wands, very much at the end of a cycle here. Three nines. We have King of Pentacles, King of Cups, Ace of Pentacles. There we go. Brand new, brand new. Hierophant. There's Taurus, the traditional and the world, and the Seven of Wands. So I think that's a lot of what's happening for many, many people, is that we're closing out some kind of traditional experience that has been a baseline for a lot of people in their life. It's sort of like recognizing that your belief system is built on something that you, in fact, have rejected. And it's like, oh, wow, I have to look at this again. Nine of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles, being confident enough to say, yeah, I have some stuff to learn. Usually, I mean, one of my values is I value lifelong learning. I value being able to hear a hard truth about yourself and then working on it, right? Especially if it's bringing you pain or unhappiness or illness or something like that. Are you looking at the things in your life that are bringing you that kind of pain, and are you hanging on to them, Nine of Wands, or are you releasing them and letting them go and allowing yourself to step into this higher vibration? King of Pentacles and the King of Cups, along with this Leo energy, is really beautiful energy. We're definitely at the place where we're saying, I want to step into a higher vibe in terms of my own ability to create wealth in my life. And the thing that my family taught me about money isn't something that's serving me. So I'm going to release that with love. Not reject it, shove it down, forget about it. Nothing like that. This is about you saying, you know, that served me well for this period of time, and now it's time to change that. I will say to you that one of the funniest things, sometimes things show up in my life and it's a while before I recognize that it's like spirit has a sense of humor. So I was in Vancouver for a week and flying back through Toronto on Friday, and the connection was too quick to get to the States. The one that was flying into Boston was too quick. And so they're like, your bag's not going to make it, blah, blah, blah. They wrote it all down, put it in a list of papers of people whose bags were also not going to make it. And they're like, just go, just get on the plane. And then we sat there for 2 hours and I was like, well, I wonder if the bag made it or not, but it didn't. It was just like they had just decided that was not going to make it. And I was like, what do I do about this? What do I do about this? Because the airline was overwhelmed and did not take down any report from me other than that paper that customs put out there. And I was just like driving Charlie to the beach this morning. We're walking on the beach. And that was a very transformative week for me. It was a very healing space. I felt like I left there a lot lighter. And I was like, oh, I left my baggage in Vancouver. I was like, yes. Thank you, Spirit. Sometimes Spirit has a sense of humor. I left my baggage behind, right? So when you do things and then like life Spirit reflects them back to you in kind of a funny way, I feel like that could be happening this week, that, you know, you're confident enough to learn. I value lifelong learning, and I always find it very frustrating to run up against people or run up against a person who sees how miserable they are, but they're like bound and determined not to change because that will mean that they were wrong at one point. And I'm like, doesn't mean that at all. It just means that you're willing to make a new choice. You're willing to make a new choice. It doesn't mean you have to go back and like, oh, I was wrong for all these 10 years that I was doing. No, it doesn't really mean that at all. So, and that especially if that keeps you from making a new decision. You can always make a new choice. Always. So you can get up today and have all these things going on in your life that feel like it's other people or feel like it's blocking you in or whatever. But you have a choice of how to look at it. Your perspective and how to look at a situation is 100% in your own power. What if I looked at that lost bag as a good thing? I left my baggage behind. What if I looked at it like that? Now, in a 3D, or as Carolyn Mace would say, a first floor kind of world, meaning everything is about survival. Everything is about only the things you can see, hear, touch, taste, smell with your five senses. That's it. Like there's nothing else going on around that. You can look at it like that. But if you come up and look at it from a distance, or look at it from a new perspective, that's what when I was coming home, I just laughed like crazy in the car, because I was like, oh my God, like look at it differently. Can you look at it differently? It doesn't mean that bag's not going to show up, but I have let it go. La 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 la. I have let that go. So if it shows up, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Whatever. There's nothing in there. There's no person, there's no dog in that bag that makes me be like, no, I have to have a bag. No. And even if it was, I mean, seriously, like you don't have to have anything back. And it really is kind of an interesting thing to see the literal way that we are accepting reality based on our values, based on the lens we look through, and give that a spin. Give it a spin. See if you can nothing has to happen. Okay. You don't have to like trash your life or anything, but take a situation that you feel powerless in, and you're giving yourself power when you look at it from a new perspective. You're not giving in. You're not letting someone else win, or whatever the thing is that's been keeping you from looking at it from a different perspective. But I have to say also that sometimes it does help to put yourself in someone else's shoes. It does help to kind of look at it from a different angle, because sometimes we can have a perception of a person in our lives and stuff. And so that's the lens we always look through. We always think that that person is the same person as who we've made them out to be. But people change. Maybe not the way, you want them to, or something like that, but they do change. People do change. And it's really only those who refuse to change that have the most tower moments in their life, because they're not really willing to look at things from a new perspective. I feel like that's what's happening here, is that there is something new being offered, right? We have the 9 of Pentacles, we have the 10 of Pentacles, and now the beginning of the cycle again. And so releasing the old baggage is the thing that's going to clear the way. And we have the King of Cups and the King of Pentacles. So grounded feelings, from our grounded feelings from a position of power, the Leo energy here, we can then accept the new. Sometimes it takes a lot more courage to accept the new than it does to hold on to the old. I don't think it takes much courage to hold on to the old. I think it takes fear. And we all go through it. It's not like, the more spiritual you are, the less fear you'll feel, because if anything, it's more confrontation about the things we're blocking our experience with. Okay, going on the spiritual path, it is more looking at yourself. It's more paying attention to all of these issues. And then I feel like there is some kind of closing out of tradition here. The Hierophant and the World. And then the 7 of Wands of like, okay, I have graduated. There's a sense of graduation here for me. That maybe in the past, there has been this sense of, I'm really holding on, 9 of Wands and 9 of Swords. I'm really holding on to something, and it's hurting me. Do you ever have a thing where it was your favorite? Something was your favorite. Chocolate pudding, Thursdays, whatever it is. And after a while, it doesn't bring any more satisfaction. It doesn't bring that same sense of, that it used to. I feel that way about Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. They don't taste the same as they did when I was a kid. You know what? My taste buds have changed. I've gotten older. The product might have changed, all of that. But it doesn't bring me the same satisfaction as it did when I was a little kid. Just doesn't. I'm not sitting around like, why is this not? Why? I know it's a stupid example, but like, why isn't this bringing me the same satisfaction? I'm willing to look at it and be like, you know what? So what? So what about the bag? So what about so what? Clearing out space to bring in new thought patterns. Thought patterns, thought forms are more powerful than you think, especially if you are tied to an old one. So let's get cracking McCracken and see where we go with this. All right. I'm going to continue on with this reading. If this has been for you, I will look at those fixed signs, Leo, Taurus, Scorpio, and Aquarius. I will pull some cards for that. So if you have any of that energy, that'll be a little additional bonus for you. And then we'll continue on with the reading and see where we go. All right. Link is below if you want to continue on. Morning message for November 8th. Happy full moon. All right, I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.